comparison with you and Nas, man. Everybody was talking about it. Now, why out of everybody you pick Nas, bro?
I didn't do it.
They asked him.
No,
they asked him.
you're not in my top 50. You might be in Charlemagne's top 50 and things like that, but you haven't done that much for me in my life. Like I didn't never want to be like Pusha. I never had a Pusha moment.
He knows
my son can't tell you one Nas record. You heard? Like let's keep it a book.
The new song?
No.
You don't like Ace Trumpets?
Oh, what's so great at Hooligan?
It's so good.
Jim Jones really messed with the wrong names this time. First Nas, then Pusha T, back to back. And he didn't just throw shade. He went full disrespect mode like he had nothing left to lose. Now, his music career's barely breathing, hanging on by a thread. All it took was a couple of wild comments, and suddenly the whole hip-hop world flipped on him. He claimed Nas was never all that important, said Pusha T was hyped way too much. And to top it off, he straight up bragged that he was the reason Nas went viral again. That's the moment people say he crossed a line you don't come back from. And what happened next? This didn't feel like your usual rap beef. Nah, it looked like a full-on takedown already in motion. Now everyone's asking, was this just another rapper with a bruised ego talking too much? Or is Jim being quietly pushed out by the very culture he once helped build? That one quote is still making waves. His summer jam set got slashed, and Pusha T, he's not done airing him out yet. So let's rewind and break down what really kicked off this slow public downfall. The line that sent everything crashing down. Nas ain't really that impactful. Boom, that wasn't just shade, it was straight up erasure. Jim didn't just critique Nas's recent work, he dismissed his whole legacy, like, Nas ain't one of the most respected, game-changing figures in hip-hop history. And here's the wild part. Jim said all this on the Joe and Jada podcast, a chill show where folks come to vibe, not bury careers. But Jim? He came on there loud and proud, doubled down, and didn't flinch for a second. He basically said Nas never really moved the culture like that, and even had the nerve to say his own Billboard numbers were better, or at least in the same league. Let's not get it twisted. Nas ain't just another rapper. He's a founding block of this culture.
Every classic album.
Yeah, Jimmy boy, you should have never brought this up. Y'all are only 3 years apart, and Nas is just like murdering you. You asked us to look up the stats, and here they are. Like Jim Jones, like you got a couple songs. I mean, like literally, it's a couple. But we're talking about Nas. Let me show y'all Nas's last projects. Nas been getting it in since 2018. Jimmy, when the last time you put out an album? Oh, would you look at that? You have been dropping music. You've really been dropping music. But nobody's heard it. Nobody's listening.
Illmatic gets studied in college classrooms. Ether still gives veteran rappers nightmares. And the King's Disease trilogy? Yeah, proof he's still got it and keeps evolving. Meanwhile, Jim's out here talking like he just dropped something as legendary as The Chronic. But this wasn't about music anymore. It was pure ego, straight insecurity dressed up as just sharing my opinion. And the moment he brought his own kid into it, people were like, what example are you trying to set, man? The internet came for him instantly. Fans pulled receipts left and right, awards, iconic albums, sold-out shows. They put Nas's whole resume on blast and made it crystal clear. Jim's take didn't just miss, it crashed and burned. Meanwhile, Jim's own chart stats don't exactly scream legendary. And all this chaos started just because he tried to rewrite hip-hop history with a hot take that literally nobody asked for. Most people, after getting roasted online for dissing a legend, might ease up or at least clean it up a little. But not Jim. Nope. He doubled down, then tripled down. He jumped on Nightcap, looked Shannon Sharp dead in the face, and said it again. Nas never had the influence people claim. For real? He wasn't backing off at all. Then Jim really turned it up, saying Nas was always in second place. Let's stop right there. Second to who exactly? He named Jay-Z and DMX. But that's wild. These three ran in totally different lanes. Nas brought soul, poetry, and deep thought. Jay-Z was the slick business mogul on the mic. And DMX? He was raw pain and pure energy. That's like trying to compare Kendrick Lamar to Future. They're built for different missions, different minds, different hearts. So saying Nas never led the pack? That's not an opinion. That's straight-up history distortion. And what's even crazier, Jim admits he used to be a fan. Said back in the day, he wanted to dress just like Nas. That was his whole teenage vibe. But now, Jim's using a movie clip from 1998 as his reason to throw away Nas's entire 30-year impact on music? Make it make sense. This is where it all starts sounding delusional. It's not even about opinions anymore. It's not about stats. It's like Jim's trying to force Nas into a lower spot just to make room for himself. But here's the thing. The numbers don't lie. And they're not lining up how Jim wants them to. This wasn't a critique. This was about status. Jim's trying to position himself next to the GOATs, but instead, all he did was put his own insecurity on full display. Like, bro, if you're really that confident in your legacy, why are you trying so hard to tear down someone else's? Jim didn't just diss Nas, he took it to a whole new level. He actually claimed he's the one who brought Nas back into the spotlight. Like the culture had somehow forgotten Nas existed, and Jim was the savior who reminded everyone. He really acted like the entire hip-hop world owed him a thank you for making Nas go viral again. But the internet wasn't having it. Fans fired back fast. One person wrote, "The only reason anyone's talking about you is because you're saying dumb stuff about Nas. That's the only reason you're getting interviews. It's just for clicks."
I had Nas, but remember Nas' first record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade. So Nas was my idol when I was young. Like you did, came to dressing, the wordplay, the music, everything. I was a superior Nas fan, period. I'd never take that away from him. But then as I got in the game, you got to realize that your rivals would be idols, and not to take anything away from that, I developed my own style and my own lane that these kids start to gravitate towards the same way I gravitated towards Nas when I was younger and things like that. It's a whole different generation.
Another added, "The amount of delusional disrespect from Jim Jones toward Nas is getting out of hand. I'm sick of it. You don't earn any points saying stuff like this." And they weren't wrong. The numbers don't lie. Nas has been active non-stop. 3 full albums in the last 5 years, a Grammy win, and show after show selling out. He's been working while Jim's been out here trying to stir drama from a podcast seat. Jim thought he was setting a trend, but what he really started, his own public downfall. It's like he lit the match and didn't realize he was standing on the fuse. Let's rewind to 2024, Paris, the Louis Vuitton Spring-Summer Show. The crowd? Stacked with straight icons. Beyoncé, Jay-Z, Rihanna, LeBron. Literally everybody who runs the game in music, fashion, and culture was there. Cameras flashing everywhere. This wasn't just a fashion show, it was a moment. Pharrell was debuting his first ever collection as the new head of Louis Vuitton Men's Major History. Then, out of nowhere, the beat drops. But this isn't just a background track, it's clips. For the first time in over 10 years, Pusha T and his brother No Malice hit the runway with a brand new joint. And the second those lyrics dropped, you could feel the air shift. It wasn't just a performance, it was a power move. Even Jay-Z couldn't help but nod along. It was that serious. Everybody in the room knew exactly who Pusha T was aiming at. That bar about chasing a feature out of your element, that was a direct shot at Jim Jones linking up with Drake, right after Drake got crowned an honorary Dipset member on stage in Harlem. But let's not forget, this is the same Drake that Pusha absolutely shredded in the story of Adidon. And let's be honest, Drake's image still ain't fully recovered from that. But this wasn't just some random SoundCloud diss. This was calculated. This was a strategic play. Pusha turned Paris Fashion Week into a trap, and Jim walked straight into it. That's how far ahead Push was thinking. Meanwhile, Jim couldn't stop dragging Pusha's name everywhere. The Breakfast Club, Rap Caviar, Drink Champs. He kept running his mouth. He even had the nerve to say, Pusha T's not even top 50. Like, seriously? But Push didn't need a podcast to clap back. He brought billionaires, fashion moguls, and rap royalty to the front row for his response. It wasn't just about the bars. It was the whole setting that spoke volumes. Pharrell produced that diss track. Yeah, that Pharrell, the one who helped craft Clips's entire sound from day one. a man who's deeply connected to both Virginia and the elite fashion world. And this new track? It wasn't some throwaway. Word is, it was made inside Louis Vuitton's actual Paris headquarters, overlooking the Seine River. Pharrell even told the New York Times, pointing out the window, "This was made in this room. We just started walking around, looking out this window, and you see all of this. I mean, we beating the system, bro."
I came into light and started going crazy that these kids love me. They don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in '03.
Not all of them. Some of them, though. But
You know what I mean?
A lot
Like-
of them, though.
That wasn't just music. It was a message layered in luxury, legacy, and long-term thinking. While Jim was podcast hopping, trying to stay relevant with clickbait quotes, Pusha was orchestrating high-fashion chess moves in Europe. And Nas, he was on a whole other level. While Jim chased internet clout, Nas was back in Queens building a legacy. We're talking about Resorts World Queens, a massive 350,000 square foot casino and entertainment complex backed by a $5 billion investment plan. This ain't your typical brand partnership. This is real infrastructure. Nas is investing in equity, in power, and in generational wealth for an entire borough. While others argue about top 50 lists, Nas is making moves that'll impact his community for decades to come. Meanwhile, Jim Jones is out here bragging about Summer Jam bookings like it's still 2008. While he's stuck chasing throwback clout, Nas didn't need to spit a single bar. He dropped straight receipts and let his real-life wins do all the talking. And trust, those moves hit way harder than any diss track ever could. Fans clocked it instantly. The comments under Nas's post were brutal. One user wrote, "Someone else can't stop running their mouth, hoping to go viral." Meanwhile, Nas is out here making real boss moves. That's the difference. When you're truly rich, actually respected, and still relevant, you don't need to clap back. You let your legacy do the work. Now let's talk about Jim's big flop moment, Summer Jam 2024. This was the chance he had clearly been chasing all year. He got the stage, the spotlight, but when he stepped out, crickets. The crowd wasn't feeling it. Then things got worse. Funkmaster Flex, the same guy who's backed Jim for years, cut his set short, and you could see the disappointment hit Jim in real time. This was supposed to be his victory lap, but instead, it was a straight-up L. The truth is, all the noise Jim made around this beef didn't translate when it mattered. Why? Because he didn't bring the hits. He brought drama, and the crowd wasn't buying it. But even after all that, Jim still couldn't let it go. He had one more diss locked and loaded, and this time it got real personal. After that explosive Louis Vuitton moment, Pusha T didn't say much in public. But behind the scenes, word started spreading. He wasn't finished. Sources close to Clips say their upcoming reunion album is loaded with icy surgical bars aimed directly at Jim. That track they debuted in Paris? That was just the intro. What's coming next? Way darker. Some insiders are calling this Pusha's Coke Bear era because he's fully leaning into the villain role, and he's not pulling punches. He's not out for peace. He's out for legacy. And if Jim keeps talking, it's about to be lyrical murder. But it's not just about the bars, it's the whole setup. Pusha's aligning his return with the elite. High fashion, luxury events, billionaire circles. While Jim's still rapping in Harlem alleyways, over the same beat he just got washed on. Yep, you read that right. Jim really tried to flip the chains and whips beat and drop his own freestyle in response. Like that was gonna save him? And it gets worse. He didn't just fire at Pusha T. He took a slick jab at No Malice. That's where he seriously crossed the line. Pusha can handle shots. It's part of the game. But dragging No Malice, a man who left the rap game to follow his faith and completely change his life, that's not just petty, that's straight up disrespect. And while Pusha hasn't responded yet, if history tells us anything, it's that he doesn't move off emotion. He moves with strategy. And when he strikes, it's lethal. But Jim wasn't done embarrassing himself. He made his biggest mistake yet, dissing Clips' new single Chains and Trumpets on camera during an interview. That was his last swing, and it missed bad. He tried to act cool about it, saying he doesn't listen to Clips and never has. But the fake chill was see-through. The insecurity oozed out of every word because deep down, He knows that track was about him, and he knows they torched him. And now? The energy has completely shifted. This isn't just Nas and Pusha closing the book on Jim. It's the whole culture shutting the door. Blogs are tearing him apart. Fans who used to rock Dipset heavy are turning on him. People are tired. They're not calling this a beef anymore. They're calling it a lesson. Jim walked into the ring with Nas and Pusha T like he had the bars to go round for round. But what he got hit with wasn't bars. It was silence, moves, and power plays from billionaires. He got folded before he even landed a real punch. He's not trending. He's not charting. He's not even in the conversation anymore. It's like he's become a ghost in a game he once helped build. And here's the real twist. That new Clips album? It still hasn't dropped. That might be the real funeral. If you thought this beef was wild, just wait till you hear what's coming next. Hit like, smash that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one.